3 people already on there. So yeah, man.
Yeah.
I love that freaking intro. I spoke to our boy Ty, and he's gonna put together some stuff for the event coming up. So.
What event? We got an
Yeah,
event?
Skirts. Pump the brakes real quick. So welcome to the Wednesday weekly wins over here at Patriot Business Alliance. We got our boy late as usual, Mr. Casey Ashmore.
Wait.
Our main man Mitch Ownby here, Doc over here, myself. So before we get started, I just want to take our hats off real quick, gentlemen, and just take a minute and just kind of have a moment of silence for our man Mike Donegan, who, and for those of you who don't know, he was a pillar in this community, a member of our American Legion, loved people, one of the most selfless men I've ever met in my life, and had a primary goal in his life, from what I learned from him, to raise the youth in a positive way. So if we could just take a few seconds here. It's tough when you lose people, right? And it kind of puts things in perspective for you, no matter where you're at in life. But didn't want to start that off to be somber. Wanted to start that off as a sign of respect. I got to know him like you guys got to know him over the years, and I don't think there's not too many people you can put at the same level as Mike Donegan. So our condolences from our team, our alliance, to the family of Mike. There's some information that's starting to come about for the viewing and for his actual funeral. So keep a lookout for that. But let's
reach out to me if you need to know.
Yeah.
Reach out to me. I'll hook you up.
Yep, exactly. So every week, our man Doc started this weeks and weeks and weeks ago. We start out with our weekly wins, personal and professional. So hit us with it, Coasty.
Oh, well, I always got to be first.
You don't have to be first. Jeff's first.
Okay, weekly wins. All right. Personally, I had a great Father's Day. Spent Saturday with my wife for the majority of the day. Went to the mayor's party, then went to Operation. What was it called?
Rock the Troops.
Yeah, Rock the Troops with the wife. So I spent a lot of QT with the wife, and then Sunday woke up at 0 dark 30. Went and lost a lot of golf balls and had a few triple putts, but I spent the day with my little man. And then I didn't do jack squat after that, so it was nice business. I'm getting my schedule together like we've been talking about for weeks, you know what I mean? So I'm in week 5 of the whole, keep track of my time, and things are actually starting to be able to morph into something that's more productive. So that's a win for me.
That's huge. It's huge being able to spend that family time and track it.
Yeah.
Right? I'm still struggling with that shit. I know what I was doing yesterday. Maybe. Personal wins. There's just a lot to be grateful for when you still come home and your wife and kids appreciate seeing you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's always a big win for me, that our relationships are continuously growing inside of my personal family, which is huge. Business-wise, team is continuously killing it. We got some big things going with the Patriot Business Alliance. I think somebody leaked out a word about an event that's supposed to be going down sooner rather than later. I mean, there's some huge things. Another huge business win is that we got a 25-year business owner with us in the house tonight.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's big.
Yeah.
I mean, being in business for 25 years, who's got time to come and talk to a couple of knuckleheads like us, right? So we're looking forward to it. So what about it, Mitch? What you got? Your personal?
Personal, of course, Father's Day, one of the nicer Father's Days I've had in a while. Mainly family, mainly my wife's family is usually around here. Right? So love to get together and grill. Lots of fun watching the kids play in the pool. Stupid adult grown people that were acting like kids in the pool was fun too.
Yeah.
I think it's a year and a half now that we've been kind of sequestered, and I think for us to still enjoy each other, stuck together in the house most of the time, working from home, is that we don't have the ability to go and climb in attics and go in front of. Well, you haven't had a chance to go to court either, but.
No, that's changed.
It's changed now. It hadn't for a long time.
Oh no, until
May. It's stir crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that to do most of the work from home, my wife hadn't been to the office in a year and a half, and yet we still enjoy being around each other. We've been married a whole long time, 26 plus years.
Congrats. That's a
wait a second. So you got married and then automatically went and opened up a damn business? We'll get more into that, Mitch.
Yeah,
We will
there's
get
a
more
little
into
bit
that.
there. Yep.
We're going to scoot towards Casey a
Yeah,
little bit.
absolutely.
I'm going to scoot more here,
Yeah.
and Jeff's beard won't cover my mug
Oh, yeah.
anymore.
It's beautiful. It's glorious.
It's just,
Shiny.
It'll be
so
appearing
what about
later
your
on Beard
business-
Wars.
Your business best of the last week.
Business for me, it's not a weekly thing. You'd have to go back a
No,
month.
that's
You have
not
to
the
go back.
rules.
I'm just
Last
saying,
week,
this is a
this
slow
one
burn.
thing that you're
Pinnacle. So I've been we went through an RP process in 17. We were awarded a contract that began, it was a 5+5 deal, October 1 of 2017. And the contract was not a good piece, not a good document, let's say, right? It was about 2/3 too long, but the way that it came together, the only way to get the deal done was to get the deal done, period. And so I've been working and was really close a year ago plus, right before COVID hit, getting back in that contract and cleaning it up and giving us a lot of things on both sides that needed to be in it in the beginning.
Yeah.
So we had a meeting a couple of weeks ago. Contract language came out, and the last little bit of now we're about to discuss where this thing goes was this week. So that probably have to be.
So that's huge. So what I heard you
So
tell
it's a
me,
slow burn.
what I heard you tell me is you're about to close another massive contract for your business.
Well,
That's awesome.
We don't know if it'll extend, start over, if it's a new 5+5. But
You know what?
a
If you're
10-year
in
deal
this
is-
room, you're gonna win. Okay,
I'm a winner
you got
for
this.
sure.
You got this damn contract on lock.
Put it in the universe.
That's it. We just did.
Now it's done.
Now
right?
it's done. It's your
Hard work's done,
contract.
Mitch.
If I only known it was that easy.
It's
I'd
that
bet.
easy. KC, what you got?
So, man, lots. The biggest one is at my son's birthday, 9, right? That fucking means halftime. So y'all listen up, right? It goes quick. Halftime, right? 9 and Father's Day on the same day.
Killer.
So, dude, we had a killer, just Dad and Matt. Just that was an amazing day, man. Just an amazing day, and just grilled, hung out with the kiddos, just did whatever that Matt wanted to do. But also a stark reminder in light of everything that's going on. Another big personal best is that I got to say hello to Michael before the end. So thank you, Sharon. We love you. We're praying for you. Michael's in glory now, and we love him. And there are a lot of, and it has a lot to do, I think, kind of, not to put it in the universe, but what we're going to talk about tonight is that when you've got the momentum, when you're winning, then the law of average, we were talking about that the other day, and, I felt super blessed. Jennifer said something to me, and I don't know what it was, but it just, bam, got my mindset right. I had just had a big setback. And instead of looking in the rear view and being all pissed off about it, right, I just went back down and I wrote my goals down, which is what, I know you guys know I love the teaching of Grant Cardone and his whole team. And that when you hit those roadblocks, and hey, look, I don't give a shit if it works for you. It works for me and a lot of other people. But maybe it'll work for you too. But you hit a roadblock, something that punches you in the mouth, write your goals down. And I did that. I literally did that just yesterday.
Nice.
Kind of brings you back down to where you think you want to be.
Right, and why you're doing all this.
Yeah.
Why you're getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and then going to the gym and then going to the office and going to the courthouse and right?
Well, sounds like you're winning.
Yeah. Big wins on Wednesday. Everybody had some really good wins. You know
The
what I
good thing
mean?
about it is we don't lose, right? We always learn.
We just learned. But you guys know the importance of why we do this. Because last week we were talking and the force of average was against us.
Yep.
The devil was outside doing push-ups. If it could go wrong, it did go wrong.
Yeah.
And we lose perspective on, like you said, I went back down and wrote my goals. I went over here and I looked at my gratitude.
Yeah.
I came in here and was like, oh shit, we got to spend all damn day with our kids.
Mhm.
Our family loves us, right? So even though the world will punch us up and beat us and bruise us, it gives us the opportunity to reflect on all the great things that we can take for granted.
Yeah.
And that's what happens is a lot of
I'd like
times.
to take it a step further.
Yeah.
You've never had a sword that was a good sword that cut and a great tool that wasn't in the fire over and over and over again, getting tempered.
Yeah.
Those fires make you stronger every time you come out. You're a stronger person. And if you can regroup with goals and come right back at it.
Oh, that's huge.
I love that.
Someone used that analogy the other day when I was talking to him too, and it's a damn truth, right?
Yeah.
Because that's how you bend metal. Put it in the fire, put it in the water, put it in the fire, put it in the water.
Bang it out.
Yeah, bang it out.
Bang
Yeah.
it out.
Iron sharpens iron as well. And when you guys get in here in a group like this,
Yeah.
and you get to cuss and discuss, you sharpen each other every
That's
time.
a T-shirt.
Hey,
Write that one
It is a
down.
T-shirt.
audience, throw in the chat, your weekly wins, your Wednesday wins. We want to hear
Yeah.
about it. Want to hear what's going on with you guys.
We want to
Yeah.
know what keeps
So-
you going.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's tough. The road is tough. It's always tough. We talked about the 4-lane highway or the dirt road last week or whatever. So we thought we'd kind of change it up just a little bit this week. And instead of being so like banging out on some business stuff, we wanted to bring our boy Mitch in here. Mitch pulls each one of us aside, and he does it silently, right? He's the silent assassin because he'll catch you at a party or catch you hanging out, and he'll be like, "Hey, how's business?"
Yeah.
Whoa, wait, hold up. I wasn't ready for that. But it's good because it's intimate conversation where he really means what he's asking. There's a lot of people in any town, not this one particular or at this one, that just ask you, "Hey, how's it going?" And they really don't give a shit. Our man Mitch really does. So we're going to give you the floor a little bit. If you guys don't know, Mitch runs an EMS company here in Rockwall. He's sort of a big thing, right? So I know he doesn't like that accolades. That's why I threw that in there. But why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your family and your business?
Well, right out of high school, went to EMT school and on in through paramedic school in Oklahoma City, ran the streets of Oklahoma City for 8 years or so, matriculated my way down to Rockwall. 1993, there were a whopping 24,000 people in the entire county.
Wow.
12,000 people in the city of Rockwall, and 2 ambulances and not a whole lot of calls. So we've seen it quadruple over the years. I've been kind of running from the national EMS chains for a long time, and my boss that got me down here to run the system in 93 sold to one of those exact chains. So immediately things started changing. Our ambulances were going into Mesquite to run calls. They were selling my paramedics off and bringing in lower trained EMTs, etc. And we didn't like it. A couple of the guys said, "We can fix this." Put together a business plan, found some money, and brought me in at the end, and I had all the political connections. So fortunately, we were able to do some of the contractual stuff. And so we've been running 911 calls since January 11 of 1997. So that's been through a lot of contracts.
So for those that can't do math like myself, it's like 25 years or something, right?
It's pretty close, yeah.
That's
So
it.
it's been a long haul, and I think, I see these guys moving and shaking and growing their business. I think I'm like the slow burn, I'm the grass, not the grass fire, but I'm the hay bale that you got to come back and.
So let me ask you
sometimes.
something about that. You said that a few times tonight. I'm the
Right.
slow burn. Rockwall EMS, Emergency Medical
Yeah,
Services, right? And knowing that as a paramedic, and knowing that this isn't a get rich kind of a business, right?
Right.
Like what drove you in 1985 that says, you know what, I'm going to open up a business that I'm not going to have a ROI on for 25 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, because why would you even want to do
go to
that?
business school?
Right.
So there's-
That was probably your best decision.
That's right. I didn't go to business school,
Right.
maybe a little bit, but
I always equate, and it's fair for me, and you guys may get it, you may not, but I say we're the Bart Simpsons of the world. We should have been doctors and lawyers and such, and we just don't. But
Yeah.
paramedics are some of the smartest people. They're A-types, they're driven, and yet a lot of times they're lazy at the same time, if that makes sense.
100%.
And so I didn't get into this thinking that I was in pre-med, and I was going to be an anesthesiologist. And if I had, 1,000 innovations and 10,000 IVs, and I've seen 25,000, 30,000 patients, that I'd be that much ahead. And EMS just sort of chose me early on and never looked back. In fact, at 26, right before I moved down here, our medical director said, the medical school you were going to go to 10 years ago, I can get you in there. I know people on the board. And I said, I'm 26. I don't need to go to medical school. And he said, yeah, you do.
Yeah.
I said, well, I'm too old. I'm ingrained. He said, I was 35 and a practicing pharmacist when I went to med school.
No kidding. So it's never too late.
So he said, no excuse. And I
Yeah.
said, EMS is where I'm supposed to be. So I come down here a couple of years later, we start the business.
Yeah.
Because we didn't like the way things were being done. I think a lot of times Americans, the ingenuity is we see something wrong and we want to go fix it.
Yeah.
And guys are fixers and paramedics are fixers.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we wanted to fix it. We can do it better. And we're just some punk young kids, 26
Yeah.
years old, and we can do better than these national chains. And so that's what we do.
Because you think those national chains were the ones chasing the money, and you were chasing
We were
serving
chasing,
to.
we were chasing what was right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if you do what's right every time, it will circle back around. The money will come if it's money that you need. Whatever you need, it'll come tenfold.
So that's coming from somebody who's been in the business a long time. We've been saying this as young entrepreneurs and young business owners. So that doesn't reinforce the fact that we've been telling our listeners and viewers, don't go into business for money. I don't know what else will. So I just wanted to make a point. Hey,
Right.
check it out. This is coming from an OG here, right? That's telling us.
And you'll have ebbs and flows. You'll have ups and downs.
Yeah.
And just like you setbacks, and those are the fires again.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But understand that you're constantly moving up at the same time too.
Yeah.
So let's put this in perspective.
small
What were
steps.
you doing in 1997?
Let's see, 97, sophomore year?
Give or take.
Yeah, sophomore year, something like that.
I
Sophomore.
think I met Jess Skinner in
Yeah.
'97.
Okay, so I answer your question. I was wearing an ROT shirt
ROTC.
and got to meet this knucklehead. And then here we are 27
Yeah,
years
right,
later.
right. So just think like you don't even know. So audience, where were you in 1997, right?
Yeah.
I mean, some of us were, finishing.
Old as shit.
Yeah, already.
Already.
Already old as shit.
It
Yeah.
is, right?
But that means that we got the experience. We don't need to, you motherfuckers were sucking on Oreos.
Yeah.
Get some milk and cookies
So
over
we were
here.
chasing skirt at
That's it.
97. That's what we were
97.
doing.
Back when you were cool.
That's right.
But look, man, the cool thing about this alliance and what we do is we have the ability to lean on guys like you guys, and we bust your chops all the time for being old.
I am old.
And you are.
I look
But-
pretty damn good for
But
68.
it's nice when you can say, when we come to you or when someone else comes to you and say, hey, I did this. Like Mitch has told me,
Yeah.
I've done this. Like,
25 years.
don't go this route because I tell you, it's just, it's a chicken hole or what they
Yeah,
call it, rabbit
rabbit
hole. or
hole.
whatever. So,
Chickens don't take holes.
yeah, chickens don't dig holes, rabbits dig holes. But
I love it, man.
Clearly not a farmer.
If you fucking go to a chicken hole,
You might not like what you see. That's what I'm thinking.
you find those in Mexico.
you're already down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, we're already-
That's the rabbit hole.
All right,
and
let's
the
bring it
chicken
back.
hole.
Let's bring it back. Let's bring it
So,
Well, man, Mitch, it's
American
great to have
dream.
you on, man. Yeah.
right? So would you say you did the American dream, right? You found a problem, you followed your passion, you stuck through it, through grit, through heartache, through the ebbs and flows.
Right.
Is that what you would think about as a patriot business owner, that America didn't let you down?
I think America almost forced me into it.
Okay.
So I think completely different perspective. The short answer is absolutely yes. You couldn't do what I did. I'm a 1%er in EMS, owning an ambulance company that serves 110,000 people, and we run 25 to 35 calls a day. And I wouldn't be able to do that as an EMT at 18
Yeah.
in any other country on the planet.
Mhm.
So absolutely. But to me, that stereotypical, I'm going to go do this, I'm going to create this, I'm going to start my AV company, and I'm going to grind, and I'm going to hire an employee here and an employee there, but my wife's going to do the books, and
Yeah.
until we make it work, until we
Mhm.
get over the hump,
Mm-hmm.
and we can start doing more, less incremental builds.
Yeah.
And for me, it was just sort of like, oh, we have 2 more calls today than we did yesterday, So
Yeah.
we're like,
That's the growth
intrinsic.
chart.
So ours is a whole lot more organic
Mhm.
that we have to react to, where you guys are out there hustling, and them in particular. But I mean, you've got to have new clients too, or you're
But a lot of it is organic, right? I mean, a lot of it is you got to start putting in.
it's foundational.
Yeah, right. You gotta build some relationships, earn some trust. It does not hurt.
Trust is earned.
It does not. Yeah, it is earned. It does not hurt to start doing things, because you do see, I mean, that's exactly right. I saw a problem. What I learned from my very first boss, Judge Barbara Hervey, and thank you, Judge, for giving me a shot, because you didn't have to, and I'll never be able to repay you, but thank you. The fact of the matter is, though, the two places I worked in private business in Dallas taught me more about what the fuck not to do, right? Kind of like what your experience was. You saw these franchises and you're like, these fucking clowns don't know shit about nothing.
Yeah.
And the only thing I've learned here is how not to treat good employees, how to run off my best people, right? For a little bit of cheddar right now. They traded off your best EMTs, probably to the big hospitals in Dallas. Those people flamed out because they hated working for that big grind. Would have gladly stayed with you and your colleagues here in Rockwall. But you make those investments and you start building that alliance, right? That can go, hey, Mitch, what you need is an SBA loan, or you need to talk to some people who will invest in this business. So I'm going to put you in touch with Bing, Bang, Boom, Bop. And then the next thing you know, you've got a business plan. You've got the backing of either some financial wherewithal, a banker, whatever it takes, and you solve the problem in a community, right? And that.
Yeah, if this group would have been together then, what we had to do, what I had to create in my, extra bedroom at the house.
Yeah.
And the same thing for the other guys that were doing different aspects of the build. We could have just plugged into something like this, night and day difference.
See, and that's why we do what we do every week, so we can get those young entrepreneurs to plug in, and even just helping one person a week, like we always say, that's why we do what we do. So let's talk. What do you think the American dream is now that you have a business? Right. So the American dream before we started all this was something completely different.
Yeah.
Right. So let's talk about just, open conversation. What is it to us now? It may be different. It may be the same.
Honestly, mine is to have 7 businesses doing about $50,000 to $100,000 a month in profit, where I have little to no oversight on, and they're on autopilot. So it's my whole goal is to create 7 forms of passive income.
Yeah.
By the time I'm 65.
So that's your American dream.
That's my American dream.
Okay.
7 forms of passive income by the time I'm 65.
So yours is more goal oriented towards your business.
Well, because if I achieve that, all else will fall in order. Because I'll have time back, family time, money as the tools for the freedoms and the travels that I want to go and do. So because passive, that's the whole idea behind it. I'm not doing shit for that money.
Yeah, I'm making money work for you.
That's right. So that's ultimately, that's where I feel like the American dream, and it is attainable. It is 1,000% attainable if the processes are followed, the systems are followed, and you do the fucking work right now, right? So that by the time you get 55, 60 years old, that those streams of income are coming in, and you're living your best life.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just asked the question, and then I just told myself, man, I don't know what the American dream is right now, because I'm in the grind right now. Yeah. I'm the youngest entrepreneur.
Well, I think it changes, right?
It does.
Right? I mean, you think about, so, 17, 18, the only people, my draft choices for college were probation officers, not college recruiters, okay? Right? Told my dad I wanted to go to college. He's like, hey, that's a good idea. I'm going to tell you what my daddy told me. You can go ask your fucking uncle. So the next day he drops me off at MEPS in Houston, Texas, right? Coast Guard was
the big uncle.
Right, Uncle Sam, right? Uncle Sam.
Yeah, me too. I was like, all right, maybe his brother's
no.
Yeah.
Your uncle,
yeah.
right?
Sam.
Uncle Sam.
Uncle Sam for you millennials.
Work on board diary.
Yeah.
Because we all lost that.
Yeah, so good call, good catch. So, yeah, it drops me off at MEPS. Either the Coast Guard was up from the night before, more likely than not, or they were the first ones open, probably not. They were sobering up from a night of shore leave.
They were closed.
They never closed, right? They had the coffee on. They're like, hey, watch this video. This kid's.
You're sold.
5 years later, right? I'm rolling back in. I got my GI Bill, right? So next American dream, right?
Yeah.
Got my college money. I'm going to go to college, right? I'm going to be an attorney. 7 years later, next American dream. Okay, I want this job at at the Court of Criminal Appeals, right? So it changes, right? And that's one of the reasons why I like refreshing myself on my goals. Mike, I want to tell you something that's amazing about Mike and very inspiring. One of the reasons why I like to be around him and his family is that energy, is that his goals are super defined, like down to like the little nuggets, right? You know, he's the big idea guy, but you just heard what he put into the universe. He's owning that. He's making it real by speaking it into reality, because what you know, there's this guy that he's part of Grant's team, but his name's Brandon, but he's constantly talking on what you speak is what you become. And Mike is absolutely that, because when I met this young man, he was drinking milk and cookies still.
That's right.
But you know, he was putting some stuff out into the universe at a time in his life where he was still hitting tripwires, a lot of them, right? Doc's Roofing was just getting off the ground. Mobile USA DT was really still struggling. It was still in its infancy, did not have, you know, the seeds and the foundation, right? I mean, but now, you know, just seeing the last 7 years, right? That massive transition. And I think a lot of it starts with, you are constantly talking about that mission, health, you know, God, health, and wealth. I wouldn't want to screw that one up. And that you are putting it into the universe, what this mission is, even though it changes from time to time. Right.
So let's talk about this then. So we have
again.
Yeah, accountability, right? And that kind of leads into the next question I have for everybody is, okay, so we're living our day-to-day lives, attaining success and reaching our new American dream.
Right.
Let's talk a little bit about mentorship, because Mike had asked you some before we were live. Have you ever paid for a mentorship, or have you ever paid for a business program? And you had said no, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. No.
So give us your input on a little bit of mentorship, because it's a big thing for you, and you give it to us without really knowing you give it to us.
Yeah.
But I guess it's like a lot of things in life. Maybe you're really doing it, and you just don't have the nomenclature for it. You don't put a label on it. You don't call it that. You don't define it. Put it in a box.
Mm-hmm.
But it's things you do without thinking, I think. And to me, that's what being a man's about. It's that, you know, you need someone to bring you up to some degree. You need a Paul, and you need a Barnabas. You need someone that you're bringing up along as well. And that's the biblical principle.
Yeah.
And I think that we're always better when everyone around us is better.
Yeah.
And so if the people that I look at and I think the most about and most of, that I hold the highest regard for, are constantly loving on other people and constantly helping them become better people. And when we're better people, we're better husbands, we're better fathers, and all the way down the list. And, you know, pull it back into business. I've said forever, look, if I can hire a good person, I can make them a good paramedic.
Hire for character.
You hire for character. You don't hire for however many letters he's got after his name, or how many years he's been where, flown on a helicopter, who cares? Mm-hmm. Give me a guy that is right out of school, that's from West Texas and has a heart of gold. I'm gonna make that guy a hero.
And I totally agree with that, because I hired my first employee with him not knowing jack squat, but I hired him because we had a synergy. Mm-hmm. We connected and made sense, and it's been great. You know, we all have ups and downs. Right? We all hit a tripwire every single day. I'll be honest with you. I fell through it. I shouldn't say this, but
you can own that.
Okay, I'm gonna own this. So
it happened.
Tripwires happen, and I fell through a damn ceiling this week like a jackass.
First time ever, right?
I never did that in my life, and the force of average brought me back down, right?
Humble pie.
And I'm telling you right now,
got in a hurry, right?
You need an ambulance.
Almost. I mean, I was to the sack.
My business girl
up in the neck. So, but I was able to go.
He could have. We got a guy. We know a guy.
Billable hours.
Yeah,
I see lots of synergy.
Yeah.
Need a new roof.
But the trip hours, I mean, I'll tell you what, man. It was
a sheetrock guy.
Man, you know what? Boom, it happened, and I immediately said, "You got to be shitting me." And I think maybe the kids downstairs heard me.
Yeah.
Like, what happened?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it just came out. But, you know, immediately from the mentorship that I've had from other people, I immediately owned up to it, right? It was call my drywall guy, right away. Get over here. Don't care how much it costs me. Come here tomorrow. And then call a client. Hey, brother, this is what just happened. Want to let you know. And just totally owned up to that. And to me, when you say some of these things you're talking about being a man, these are the kind of things I'm trying to teach my son.
Yeah.
Like, hey, own up. It doesn't matter how bad the mistake is in your heart. If you own up to it, keep my side of the street clean. That's being a man to me. So I love that you hit on that topic because we have sons. You're the one with daughters.
All daughters, yeah.
But you can still teach them how to be a woman, a respectable woman, right? And that's different, right? That's a different world because I'm a dude dad. I don't have any chicks.
Well, I got 2 daughters, and so I had to teach my daughters how to stand up for men who get too damn cocky and fall through ceilings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
Whoa.
Hold on a damn minute.
You've got to show them. You've got to show them how a man treats a woman
That's
too.
that's
because
right.
They need that model.
That is so true.
What they need to find in a mate. You need to model that.
Yeah. Oh, my 2 girls, you know, we did not always agree about how men should treat women. And there are some young bucks out there that I was probably a big a-hole to, and I don't give a fuck. You little fuckers deserved it. But but you know, you got to, you know, because you are the example, right? You are the first man they will ever love, right? And you set the example for the rest of their life. And I'm so, you know, thankful to have had that experience, to be blessed. But and I know many of you out there are Chris Massenberg, one of our biggest supporters, right?
Yeah.
He's a dad daughter, right? And he's got this same challenge. And there's so many moms and dads out there with that challenge. Like, how do I make sure, you know, Rochelle, right? How do I ensure that my children, that I exemplify womanhood, leadership, empire building, such that your daughters will not tolerate anybody who isn't as who isn't better than you, right? Not good as you, right? But better than you, right? Set that bar super high, right? Because if you miss, right? And I don't know, I mean, I know that the bar keeps getting higher, Mike, but just hang the fuck in there, right? They got this poem and shit. When you guys are in Lady Lake, Florida, when you're 7 passive incomes, you're gonna be like, dude, I'm so glad she kept raising that bar.
Got another one.
Yeah. He's like, hold on a minute. If you want to ride me around in this golf cart this afternoon on the square, so we go to happy hour at Chili's.
Every damn game up. That's it. That's all we're saying. But you,
we
have 5. That's right.
Yeah.
The straight line zone. You better be in.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Hey, times are definitely different though, right?
Yeah, well,
that just kind of brought up the old school me, and I'm not old school like you guys old school, but you know,
there's no school like the old school.
But there's a difference in mentality and mindset these days, I think. And we're not trying to bash anybody here, but there's a younger generation that's coming up that does not have the same values. They don't have the same work ethic. They don't have the same integrity, I would like to say. So we have to be those people. You have to be those people out there that maybe pulls that young knucklehead aside, and maybe they needed your mentorship and didn't even know it all along.
When I was 8, and we were all over everywhere. We were climbing trees. We were making wooden guns, and and we were outside the entire day.
Great.
If I was down the road and I was screwing up, and there was an adult there, an adult male there, didn't even have to know who it was.
Yeah.
He was going to tan my hide,
Mm-hmm.
and he's going to send me home to tell my dad what I'd done.
Yeah.
And so you think it takes a village, but showing those kids, we do stuff in the dark and we don't think anybody's seeing. We need to hold those accountable too. It is a village. And so how do you do that in this environment today? I mean, if you got caught hitting your own kid on the rear in a Target,
it'd be all over.
Someone's going to be calling CPS on you.
Yeah.
So you got to be real careful and still pull those things off. Still be a mentor. Still pull that.
It's definitely a little bit more challenging, but again, in my opinion, it starts with being there and talking to them and setting the expectations.
100%.
You set your business expectations for your staff, for yourself, for your culture. The same rules applies at your home.
Yeah.
Right? You set your expectation. If you think you're coming out with me and you're going to run amok inside, the only one who's allowed to do that is me. And that's if I choose to do so, right? If I want to grab a football off the Walmart shelf and launch it a couple hours over, we're going to do that because it's fun and it's fucking Walmart.
Yeah.
And that's what you do, right?
Like
Like,
Walmart's for.
if you guys haven't done that yet, I
Yeah.
suggest you try it. But it's the expectation. Yeah, we can have a good time. We can have a lot of fun, but also the respect and the consistent learning and instilling those values are fucking crucial.
I think it's key to be there. You know what I mean? 'Cause if you look back at anyone's past, there's always somebody that you wanted to be there in your life that wasn't, right? And sometimes you think, well, if that person, he or she, would have been there a little more, maybe I wouldn't have been an alcoholic. Maybe I wouldn't have been addicted to drugs. Maybe I wouldn't have been addicted to this, that, and the other.
Mhm.
So
Right.
being there.
My
is-
dad died young. This, that,
Yeah,
the other,
whatever
right?
it is, you can always pick something or someone in your life that you wish was
Grew up
there.
in family violence household.
But here's the bottom line to that, in my opinion, that's an excuse.
Mhm.
100% an excuse, because we all got demons, we all got skeletons in the closet or whatever. But what when it boils down to it, what do your clients expect from you? What do your family members expect from you? They expect action.
That's right.
Well, and then, back to your, the challenges, right, that this generation, unlike any generation, is facing, right? Like Mitch and I grew up at the end of,
World War I.
Listen, here's what I heard when y'all grew
I'm
up.
older than you.
You
Yeah.
made, like, just so I can remember, Mitch stated that at an 8-year-old child, y'all made wooden guns.
Absolutely.
Like, okay, so
And
he's
jumped out of trees.
right, yeah, you
So
made forts, you carved
Bungee
guns
sticks.
with knives, right? Anyway, the point is, grew up in the day and age with
Guns
rotary telephones.
yeah,
Right, party lines, right? Maybe your house had a phone. More likely than not, did not have a phone,
Yeah.
right? So television was on in the evenings because there wasn't shit else to watch during the day. There weren't no reruns, right? There was no Blockbuster. When Star Wars came out, it ran for 79 weeks, right, at the movie theater.
Wow, that's
70,
crazy.
right? Because it was held over if it was a hit.
Mhm.
Right? King Kong ran for 52 weeks, right? I mean, that's the kind of, like, think about that. There's no streaming shit, right?
Yeah.
But the point is, though, the challenges that this young generation is facing, I think this is what Jeff is getting at, right? The instant gratification, the dopamine from the little
Yeah.
boop, 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 right? That little blue light that hits you on this bad boy, right? It can be addicting, right? And it also has a spin on how our minds work, right? Whether or not it's affecting children so that they're having these prevalence of mental disorders, right? ADHD, this, that, and the other. And what I'm getting at is it's our job, right? It's our job to pull them forward, just like, right? Because none of us, here's one thing that we all do have in common. No matter if we graduated from law school back when Abraham Lincoln was still a judge, or, when shut up.
Sam used to roll through the.
Anyway, or, when Mitch was starting a business, when these two were eating,
we weren't even eating.
milk and cookies.
We weren't even eating.
Yeah,
We were bottle fed at that time. We were still in the tea.
But get what I'm saying? It's our job to pull them forward because we got a lift,
Mhm.
like from people like Michael Donegan,
Yes.
right? From people
Yeah.
like Mitch,
Mitch.
who like comes up at you stealth
Yeah.
at a social thing. And he's like, hey man, I need 5 minutes to just, and then he's gonna drop some love on you,
Right?
right?
He drops it, and then you leave, and you go, "Damn, I didn't even think about what he asked me."
Yeah,
We did that here at your birthday party, and I left for 3 days thinking, "Why the fuck didn't I think about that?"
yeah,
I love that.
right.
I love it.
So again, it's our job, right? It's our job to give them a lift, to pull them forward, because not all of them are going to be lucky enough to, get dropped off at MEPS at 5 o'clock in the morning and have a life-changing experience, right?
That's right.
They just reset, right? So we got to figure out a way to do that.
Here's one
Not
thing.
everyone's going to know a Mike Donegan. So
Right, yeah,
we
no
need-
kidding.
We need to aspire to be Mike Donegans.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. But here's another thing from the other side of that coin, right? Is you can only help someone who wants to help themselves.
Yeah. So you got a
Right.
point. You got to throw away the
So
crutch.
there's a milestone with people, right? Where you want to continue to help and continue to help. But I can tell you right now, I didn't want to help until I wanted to help myself, right?
You threw away the crutch, right?
So you got to be cognizant of that. You know what I mean? Because people will take advantage of your heart, your knowledge, your this and that and the other. Here, we're all selfless. We love to give knowledge. We love to help other people. But just be cognizant that there's a line in the road where some people just don't want to help themselves. So
There's takers.
That's so true, man.
And I think what do we start, right? Asking Mitch about mentorship. So he never went through it.
Yeah.
But I look at Mitch as a mentor. I look at you guys as mentors to
Absolutely.
me.
Yeah.
And, so what we want to hone in on there is, even though we're not saying go out and pay for mentorship, go out and pay for coaching, go out and buy the next fucking latest and greatest gimmick of get rich scheme. That is not our intention.
Yeah.
What our intention is if you know people that are more successful than you, call them.
Yeah.
Talk to them. The odds of them wanting to just vomit all over you with all of the damn knowledge that they've gained in 25 years is probably in your favor, right? Because that's why Mitch grabs us and pulls us to the side, because he's on the back looking in and saying, maybe it looks like he's kind of struggling. Let me pick his brain, right? Because he feels compelled to help people go to the next level. Though he's never been mentored. You're a fucking mentor. You know what I mean?
Well,
and we appreciate that.
Certainly people that affected me and did that.
Of course.
This wasn't a course. It wasn't a,
Yeah.
Right.
you didn't pay for it, those kinds of things. But, you may remember this, but there's an old saying that you guys probably don't, but if you want to soar like an eagle, why are you hanging around a bunch of turkeys?
Yeah, you're right. I don't know that one.
Yeah, I
You
never
ever
heard
heard
that either, but I like
You
that.
hear that?
You've never heard that?
No.
So that,
Maybe we should have split the table where it's like old, young, old, young.
Millennials. That's all I would say.
Applicable here means you get with an alliance like this where everyone's wanting to lift each other up, because I said earlier, when's the last time you were hired by a poor person? It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So when we're all successful and we're all bringing each other up, everybody gets better. And so those aren't turkeys, those are eagles. So hang around the eagles.
Yeah, man,
and you're gonna soar, baby.
We had said something a few weeks back
for you.
where Walter Payton had said a quote, and I'm probably going to butcher this quote, but he basically said, I have to give back because others gave to me.
Yeah.
Sweetness said that, right? And that's what he did. And the people that I look up to as mentors, the Mitches and the Mike Shotos and some people like that, they love to give back because that's what gives them little paychecks to the heart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I like what you're saying. Like, look at your circle. Because I guarantee it's someone that's in that circle loves you more than you know it, and really, really from their heart wants you to be doing better. So they're out there.
They're there. It's just become willing to
Ask.
get out of our comfort zone, right?
Be open to
You know how intimidating I was in the very beginning to come and pull a Mike Shoto, to talk to a Mitch Ownby, to a John Hohenschultz, to any of those guys. You guys were intimidating as fuck to me. Because you did it. You checked it. You got the 25 years under your belt. You got the passive income. You got this, that, and all of the American dreams that I wanted, right? And you're like, how do you go and you breach that conversation with somebody that you want to be like, right?
It's
And
tough.
it was just basically, fuck it. You know what I mean? And do it and run with it.
Never even thinking that all those guys wanted to talk
Yeah,
to you.
never even thinking that they just
That's
wanted
pretty
me
crazy.
to ask them.
Yeah.
They're like, right?
Right.
They wanted the action.
Yeah, they wanted the action. They wanted to give up that data.
So my big takeaway from thinking about this is, Mitch didn't, and a lot of it was because it didn't exist, right? Like Mitch started this business. So let's think about 1997, right? AOL is right. There's not even dial-up, right? It's
The disc.
right. It's the floppy disk, right? And they had just gone from the big floppy to the littler one to the hard plastic. There's no thumb drives. There's no right. So we're talking at a time when information's not really, like, one of the blessings that we all have is that we can mentor each other and we can get mentoring. Like when Mitch and I needed mentoring, it meant you went down to the fucking library.
Yeah.
Right. Dewey Decimal. Remember the Dewey Decimal box? You're looking through an index of, I don't know what the fuck, business, start with B. B.
See, we try not to bust your balls about being old, but then you say
Yeah.
shit like that.
This piles right on.
But you're right. But
You got the librarian, she's got the glasses on the
but
chain,
here's
right?
the other thing too is that we live in
You know what I'm talking about?
an age of over information.
Yeah.
There's so much information
Right.
that, like Mitch said earlier, that this younger generation, and they're just getting so much of, but is it true?
Right.
Like what you see out there, is it really true?
Right. What are you getting bombarded with?
So you got to be cautious because we've said this, and I live by this. We are what we eat mentally and physically. So I stopped putting the bullshit in my head. No more news, no more bullshit. I don't partake in drama. Hey, if you're dramatic and you're a family member or a friend, I don't care.
Right.
I'm done. I have no time for it. So be cautious with that, because not everything you read is true.
Right. But yeah, now we're just talking about.
Unless you find it in the Dewey Decimal Box.
Yeah, right.
If you find it there and it says nonfiction, I promise you that's some real shit.
But what we're talking about is, remember your buddy Rob, right? Rob Duran. I'm screwing up his last name. Sorry, Rob. But what we're talking about, he's like, find a mentor. Even if that mentor is a book, right? The Bible can be a mentor, right? Yeah. It's a mentor to people like Mike Donnigan, Gary Bunch, our real close friends.
Yep.
Right. But there are mentors within that study, right? You just talked a little while ago about Paul, he's on that road to Damascus. That was the baddest mofo probably in the whole Bible, right? He's the meanest.
He's the best Jew killer around.
Right. I mean, that dude is a straight up murderer, right? But on that road to Damascus, everything changed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Had a new goal, right? Redefined, but he got a mentor, right? He made an investment in something. And it didn't mean that, like, I'm going to subscribe to this or I'm going to go do that, right? But what you're talking about is, I'm going to find a way to better myself. Not only
in yourself.
Right. Not only by tuning this out, but by, and so the biggest, easiest investment you can make is excluding from your mind dramatic events, people, what have you.
Yeah.
And then making sure that, Mitch stated that he invested effort into getting close to people who could help his company, right? He had the political connections in Rockwell.
Yeah.
So he got mentors, right? He got an alliance, and that helped, right? Because that put him, like, I may not have this, but I got that, right? And I'll put you in touch with this person.
Mm-hmm.
So, right, that I think is critical about anything you're trying to do in business or personal, is to get some mentoring, because you can't, like again, you got to get lifted up.
Because tonight's not really all about the business. I love that it's going back into the business world, but tonight was just a little open conversation with our main man Mitch here to just talk about life and being a man and doing things right, and the ups and downs, like you had mentioned, how to weather those storms. So what do you tell us, with all of your experience, what helped you weather those storms? Because you say ebbs and flows. I like that. So what do we do?
I think you have to have positive ways to get rid of that stress,
mm-hmm.
in any form, whether it be a setback in business or whatever. But like training new paramedics, I always say, look, this is a stressful job. You see things that people, you can't unsee it. You should never have seen it in the first place. We're going in when everyone else is coming out. And so find ways to get rid of that stress. Drug, sex, rock and roll, laugh about it, cry about it, talk about it.
Yeah.
Preferably they're the more positive ways.
Absolutely.
It's in the gym, it's discussions, it's things like that. But you got to get rid of it, or it'll just absolutely eat you up.
Yeah.
And whether you realize it or not, you go back and you reset, you defibrillate that with writing your goals down again, whether you do it physically or mentally. Know where you're trying to go, because you're gonna get there. You just you learn patience out of that too. Which I think patience is a virtue, they say.
It is. Well, and something that you don't
pray for.
That I just learned about these guys' profession, Doc's former profession, but compassion fatigue, right? And I think it's always been out there, but they didn't know what exactly to call it. But now it's gotten a definition, and it is, people who are givers, who are in this job where, they are dealing with people at their physiological worst, right? Catastrophic failures.
Yeah.
Limbs blown off, people are dying.
I always say we see the nicest people and the worst people all at their worst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we're talking meteoric failure, systemic failure within your body. And,
and let's not get too dramatic. That's not every call.
It's not every call. A lot of, there's some good calls.
5% of calls here. It's a whole lot higher in combat zone.
Yeah.
But
right. But again, you're like, what that does to your psyche, and then how do you reboot, right? You're like these days, it's different. You can write your goals down, get your mindset right, put your 6 passive incomes back into the universe, right? I'm gonna speak that into existence again. 7 passive businesses,
7 passive forms of income.
Right, that thing. So the point though is that, you know, you got to guard against that fatigue, because that's going to come at you in anything.
Well, I think I definitely understand that, because there was a moment in time where I was, let me try to be involved in all this shit in Rockwell. And it's like, I got that, I guess is what it was. And I was like, okay, I got to pump the brakes and I'm going to focus on what we're doing. And I'm going to focus on my business and my family. And while I had to take a step back from that, it was kind of like, man, I kind of missed some of those things, but I also saw so much other growth take place in other areas that were lacking, i.e. my business or my family or whatever it may be. So yeah. No matter what job you're in, you got to, I say it all the time, God bless my boss, because I don't go on enough vacations. You have to do it. And I'm learning that, right? I've been on a couple of the last year, whatever, and it's a break away from the mental compression of everything you do on a day.
You have to have recovery.
Absolutely. It's just like a workout.
So what I hear from each 3 of you guys talking is one word that keeps coming to my mind, is everything that we're doing today is done intentionally.
Yeah.
Right? You are intentionally trying to reduce the stresses of the day's work, right? By group talk, working out. You're intentionally, you know, staying optimistic when the devil's doing push-ups, right? It's all, you're now intentionally recognizing that I need to go on vacation and have that downtime.
Yeah.
You need date nights with your spouse.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's the intent that we have, and then the action taken behind our intent.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember where I read it or who said it, but if you're going to be a top producer in life, you have to take massive action.
Every time.
Right? And so top producer in life is not defined to me by a monetary form. Like, I think I'm a top producing individual based on the relationships that I have, the knowledge that I've gained, and the amount of massive action that I've taken in life to be where I am today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So, but it was all done with intentionality behind it. Right? Like when I decided to fucking get my shit together, there was intent. And I did not look back the other way and wondering, oh shit, did I make the right choice?
I'm still looking in the rear view.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, I threw the rear view out the window, right? You know, it's like I intentionally said, you know what, this is what I'm going to do day in, day out, do what I need to do. Am I tired? Absolutely. Yeah. Does it hurt? Absolutely. Is it worth it in the end? I guarantee it.
100% of the time.
I guarantee it will be if it's done with the right intent put behind it.
Well, they say you'll never reach any goals that you don't set.
Yeah.
You know, it's a different thing, the same thing.
Absolutely,
same time.
Man.
You miss all the free throws you don't take.
Right? Well, you know, and that gets back to something that I like. You know, to me, it just you're adrift, right? You can make no decisions, right? You can make a decision, be intentional, right? And you know, you can go backwards.
Yeah, but making no decision is a decision.
It is, right? And when you're there, which I feel like, you know, so much of America is struggling with, right? Am I going back to work? Am I going to keep taking the stimulant? Am I going to do this? Am I going to do that? And I think a lot of people struggle because there's a lot of clickbaiting going on in the news media and other things, and there's a bombardment of negative. If you're going to allow social media, news media to bombard you with negativity, it'll fill your mind up with negativity, right? You'll just think that, you know, holy cow, it's Walking Dead out there. I might as well not even get up and blah, blah, blah. But, right, you can start, you know, that's what Doc was talking about. Devil's doing push-ups. You can change your mindset. You can be intentional. You can go, you know what? I'm going to make US DMT mobile. I'm going to make,
you know, you just do whatever you want with the business name.
I'm going to make this, and I'm going to make Doc's Residential Roofing. I'm going to blow up. Look, man, I'm against all that book learning.
I hear you. Who cares about letters?
I would add to that, just like we talked about working out.
Yeah.
We talked about the word accountability comes into my head because if you're making a decision as to do nothing, which it is a decision.
Absolutely.
If you have someone, again, like this group that can hold you accountable to making the decision that isn't, I'm going to do nothing, but I'm going to go do something.
Yeah.
I'm going to do something productive. So accountability in this alliance, whatever it takes to get you to the gym, or whatever it takes you to get to that next job, to see if they need a roof or whatever.
It's a big deal, and I
may
think
be,
you start learning to hold yourself accountable over time as a man, right? We all had that point where we weren't holding ourselves accountable, but you decided to hold yourself accountable. So accountability is key in your life, in your business.
And I think that, to me, of the biggest part of that and man together is that we need to be the same person all the time.
Absolutely.
And you're talking about being truthful, owning up to things. Well, it's hard to remember the lies. If you're a liar, it's going to catch up with you.
Yeah,
right. And get deeper and worse all the time. But you accountability to your actions, and if you're always the same person, whether you're alone or whether you're with your spouse or your kids or your guys, at happy hour, if you're the same dude all the time, then you don't have to worry about those air quote lies and piling up.
I agree with that, man.
It's hard to be that same guy.
It's been a kind of a double-edged sword for me because I'm such a candid, speak forward, straightforward type of guy.
You are?
I've gotten a lot of, hey, I really like that guy. He's straightforward, blah, blah, blah. And then you get that few percentage that guy's an asshole. Yeah. But that's okay because they know they're getting the Jeff Skinner every day, all day of the week. There's no deviation from it. So I 100% agree with that. And I try to teach that to my son. Don't feel like you have to waver because those guys are wearing this kind of clothes. You got to feel like you got to act like that. No, just be Caden Skinner and just do you.
Yeah. Your morals and ethics.
Yeah.
Whatever you're wearing, all the way through.
Yeah, stick to it. You want to be a metalhead and rock that metalhead. But you can hang out with the hip hoppers if you want, but you're you. So, man, I appreciate you joining us tonight, Mitch. We're coming to the top of the hour. We got any saved rounds here?
I think we came up with a new podcast name called Cuss and Discuss. I'm pretty excited about that.
I think that's going to be on a t-shirt.
I wrote it down. Some key takeaways. If you want to soar like an eagle, don't fucking hang out with turkeys.
And don't look for chicken holes.
And don't look for chicken holes. You'll be in the rabbit hole.
They don't exist.
And
oh man, got to say rounds, Casey.
Man, that hour went quick.
Yes, it did.
So besides butchering Doc's dreams and his names, really, no, I don't. Mitch, thank you so much for your guidance and your, those private mentoring moments where you're talking to us. Mitch said something very profound to me the other day that I still, I'm still wrapping my brain around it and internalizing it and making sure that it's an intentional part of my waking goals. But, one of the things that we were talking about in one of those little stealth moments where he just grabs you, like, hold on, I need 30 seconds. And he's like, look, man, you got some very, very positive impact and some deep roots in this community. But for you to do what you want to do, and for all of us, really, is what the message I heard, we've got to keep existing, right? We got to do what it takes to stick around.
Yeah.
Right. And that means taking care of our health, right? Feeding the machine in the right way, doing all the things that we need to, not just getting up and doing the grind and being great in, you get that imbalance in life. You're great in business and everything else right? Like Sweetness at the beginning of his career, right?
Yeah.
Like Sweetness at the beginning of his career. Everything was the game, the performance, withstanding all those beatings on the field. Nobody could take more crushing than him, and he'd get up and still run an amazing next play or block or what have you, make something happen. But everything was imbalanced in his life at the beginning, but then he got it back balanced. And that's the message I heard from Mitch, right? Yeah. So that's my save round. We got to exist if we're going to continue to have an impact.
So I heard something the other day, since you said balance, and this will be my save round. We always talk about scaling our businesses, and people think that's like scaling a mountain or scaling, but really what it is it's the balance of your business. And it was like an aha moment for me. And I was like, holy cat, wow. It was one of those moments, you know what I mean? So scale your business in a way that you can balance your life, your family, your friends, your mentors, all of these things, because that's really what's going to push you forward. The man said it himself, 25 plus years in business, he never did it for the money. He did it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And he's been successful. So Mitch, thank you so much for coming, brother. I appreciate you hanging out with us, man.
Absolutely.
It means a lot that you're here. So I think we're going to wrap it up tonight. Instagram, appreciate you joining us. We're going to go
What's up, IG?
wrap up and go get ready for $10,000 Thursday.
$10,000 Thursday.
I'm going to go feed my machine.
If you ain't cranking out 10 G's, just keep fucking after it. That's it.
Yeah, keep going.
Keep going.
And stay tuned in the coming days. We're about to be pushing out our, should we just say what it is?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
You want to just throw it out there right now?
What's it
Put it in
called?
the universe.
What's
We're
it
gonna-
say?
We're going to hold an event, an in-person event with limited seating called the $1 Million Hustle.
$1 Million Hustle.
What's it
folks.
called? What's it
The
called?
damn $1 Million Hustle.
That's it.
If y'all don't know, you got to find out. That's what I'm letting you know.
That's it. We got some banger speakers coming in. We got a action-packed plan. We're putting it all together. We're tightening up all the loose ends. But the date,
You know we're gonna over deliver.
every time, and the date is going to be August 14th.
August 14th.
What date?
August
August
14th.
14th.
What date?
That's it. So keep
It's
a
$1
lookout.
Million Hustle.
Appreciate you guys joining us every week. If you like what we're doing here, follow us, subscribe to our YouTube channel. These also go live every week on YouTube.
Right.
And share this content with your friends and your family. You never know. One little tidbit of information might change their life. So go on out and kill it. Y'all have a good one.
See ya.
See ya, IG.